relationship with your own internal wounds and battles, and how they have affected the way in which you associate and relate to the outside world. That is what's ending. That is what's changing. Hello, Capricorn. My name is Kristen Simone Hansen, and welcome to SeaGoat Secrets. Hi Capricorn, I am Kristen and I'm a healer. In this video, you are going to get a full rundown of Capricorn's energy for the remainder of May and how it affects you and your placements. I begin with the astrology and I end with a card reading. If at any point in this video you feel connected to me and would like to become a client of mine, you can do so by joining this link here and also in the bio. I welcome you. And if you would like to know what my clients are saying about me, you can find the link to my Trustpilot right here as well. And as you all know, I am a global citizen, and so if you have not already, please let me know where you're listening from in the comments and we can all connect and be a strong collective. Now, with all that being said, let's get into this. Capricorn, hi, hello. So this is your personal reading for the remainder of May, and I'm just going to let you guys know that I have recorded this video before, twice before, and the first time, well, both times were in April. And due to my own, let's say, journey with my fourth house, I felt like things were not enough, and I'm kind of kicking myself, and yeah, I apologize. But nonetheless, I love how connected I am to the energies at which I'm going to discuss, because it makes it sometimes awkward and yet and still easier to connect to and be more honest about. Let's just say that, instead of me feeling disconnected. Let's just say that. Because the journey of insecurity, self-perception, and self-awareness is probably some of the biggest topics that we're going to be discussing for the month of May in terms of your personal reading. But before we get into that, I want to kind of assess April a bit. And when it came to April, Capricorn, we saw a renewal in your energy. Since Pluto's exit out of your sign, you guys kind of, again, you were in a dreary energy for a period of time. There was a strong shadow period, and then after the shadow period, you kind of we're so focused on restoration, self-restoration, the restoration of your own personal soul and emotional body, that you guys could have experienced variations of lethargy. Also, Cancer was also navigating through Mars, and that really slowed you guys down. It made you feel a little uncomfortable, because Cancer is your opposite, and Cancer in the sign of Mars is debilitating for anyone. And it can be a difficult energy to learn how to deal with, because Mars is exalted in you. When Mars meets Capricorn, Mars is ready to go. When Mars meets Cancer, it's very confused. It doesn't know if it should be a warrior in the kitchen or if it should, sell everything it has and become a musician. That it's a very confusing energy. So that hit you guys, and it was there to teach you how to be better when it came to your own self, or when it comes to your own self, and also navigating your masculinity, the masculinity that exists within you, and how you were going to approach your business deals, also how you're approaching yourself with kindness, and also your relationships. You're being taught how to really communicate better with the people around you, especially when we looked at the way Pisces entered the North Node. It was all about compassionate comments, compassionate statements, how you could be a better communicator. You're leaving Saturn in Pisces this month, Capricorn. We're going to get into May in a second, but you've been learning the final lessons of the Pisces Saturn transit, of how you communicate and articulate yourself in a way that is more true, honest, and authentic to who it is that you really are. All of those things that happened where the waters were muddy, and something about the way that you communicated yourself was hard on people in terms of them being able to understand it. All of that has been clearing out, and it slowed you down in order for you to really feel into yourself and understand what it is that you wanted to say. So that led us into April, where you got a burst in energy, especially when Aries season came around. A lot of your slowness disappeared. Let's just say that, and you got a renewal on I guess a perspective of faith. Let's just say that, and a burst of ambition that had been gone for a period of time, Capricorn. So that leads us into May. And with May, it's all about an increase in self when it comes to you feeling like you can do things again. You're going through a really big drum roll when it comes to Aries going into Saturn. When Saturn moves, you move, Capricorn. So Saturn is going out of Pisces. During this time, I've mentioned this in the Aries and Saturn reading, you guys took on Piscean traits, you took on Piscean energies, you guys are the 10th house. So what you do is usually reflect back what society is focused on. You represent the status of what it is that society is, let's say, having its eyes peered upon, and that was what you were doing during the Pisces Saturn transit. But now that's shifting. Now you're feeling this burst of fire, this burst of energy. In the healing circle, we've been discussing this a lot, the way that masculine energy is coming to the center stage. The healing circle link can be found here. With the healing circle, I'm there 3 times a week. It's the membership here on YouTube. But we've been discussing so much about this increase in masculine energy, this fire that is coming about, and how it's helping you navigate yourself, Capricorn. You are feeling Aries, and Aries is in your veins telling you that it's time to start new. The reason why this is bigger than other Saturn transits, let's just say, is because this Aries energy is marrying with an Aries Neptune transit, and also Aries being still in Chiron. So these 3 energies are coming together like a drum roll saying, I am no longer interested in the ways in which I sacrifice myself for other people. For you, Capricorn, in specific, you're pioneering through your 4th house energy. So that your childhood wounds, we've been discussing the mother wound since 2019, or the home and family wound since 2019. This is you finally being able to put in the work to get this off of you, to get it off of your skin in that way. So for the month of May, you're feeling this sense of empowerment, and that you can find not just the light, but again, the momentum, the energy, the passion, the fire, and it's powering through you. So even when you're faced with situations that may seem difficult or trying, there's something inside your belly that says, you know what, I can step out on faith. I can do this anyway. I can find this anyway, this leap of momentum. And what I love about Aries in general, Capricorn, is it is a cardinal energy like you. You are to Aries that, let's say, Taurus is to Leo in that way. You guys are same, but different. When Aries finds you, Capricorn, it reminds you to step out of sometimes the ocean, right? Because you're the sea goat. Aries brings that fire and it says, hey, come on land and let's climb this mountain together. Let's pack off all the emotions. Let's put down all of the heaviness, and let's really just climb out of this. Aries, like you, goes through a lot of trying times. Aries experiences a life where they deal with a lot of difficulty. But the way an Aries decides to, let's say, push through it is with less, let's just say less things slowing it down, less things to feel. And obviously there are pros and cons to that. But right now, this is giving you an energy of being able to put the baggage down, wanting to put the baggage down, and putting whatever work it is that you need to put in to put that baggage down. Now, for a lot of you, this is a conversation around insecurity. And remember, this is your personal reading. So in this case, I am diving into your subconscious. I am in your inside of you, in your belly, in that way, in your heart. And insecurity is a big conversation for you, Capricorn, because it is your 4th house. This May energy is, or May time, is giving you an awareness about the things that you feel uncomfortable about, the ways in which you do feel insecure, you do feel uncomfortable, things that have been carrying you since childhood, fears that you've had since childhood, ways of seeing yourself that could have been misaligned or negative, things that your family of origin could have told to you, especially those of you when it comes to your relationship with the maternal energy. That now your maternal energy could have been father, as well, but it's just whatever you relate to in terms of who really sowed the seeds of mother for you, and the relationship you had with this person, whether positive and or negative, how it shaped your identity and how it frankly held you back in various ways, whether it was nourishment and doting, which is something that you're pushing through, maybe saying, you know what, I need to leave my home. I need to leave the spaces that feel the most comfortable to me, the spaces that, let's say, keep me in a box or hold me back. Or if it is more on the negative side, where it's I need to rescue myself from the things that once wounded me, that hurt me, tied to the things that I was told or understood about myself in terms of family of origin. So these are the things that you're dancing through, whether consciously or subconsciously. You are pioneering through your deep-seated belief systems that do not serve you, and of reevaluating your belief systems. Where is home? What you think home is? What is culture? What you think your culture is? What is your identity? Who determines your identity? How do you show up in the world? What does it mean to be you? You guys can find yourselves looking at everything down to your hair, to your eyes, to your body, but in a way that is very specific. Like you're peering into the parts of you that have felt like they could not become malleable, and asking yourself what it is that you will give and take. How do you really want to be in the world around you, and the pioneering energy you're putting in behind it. The good thing is this is giving you a lot of strength, like I said. So feeling the insecurity and pushing past it, feeling the fear and doing it anyway, getting a lot of really positive downloads throughout the month of May in terms of who it is that you are and what it is that you're capable of. I really love the way this Aries energy is starting with a bang, and it's giving you the burst of confidence that you deserve and that you've been desiring. Let's just say that. So I will move through the remaining weeks. We've got Mercury entering Taurus on the 10th, and then the great full moons happening in Scorpio on the 12th. So the thing with these two energies is obviously they are the opposite of one another. The full moon in Scorpio is having you release any kind of misaligned perceptions that you've had tied to the way that other people see you, tied to your social dynamics. And also it can be insecurities when it comes to how you show up on social media, how you show up in terms of how you relate yourself to your networks, or again, the social networks. This is asking you to end chapters tied to the ways in which you've been reworking yourself. It could have been reworking your, let's say, the quality. If you are a social media person, changing the way your quality is, changing your lighting, changing your content, changing the way you are showing up in terms of your content. You've been working on this for a while, Capricorn, since we saw Scorpio new moon of last year, wanting to get deeper in how you showed up in your social networks and making sure that you were understood. And this brings about an ending when it comes to that. There's a project that you're finalizing when it comes to your identity in relation to the people either around you in your social circles or again your social networks. So in simple terms, and we'll talk about this in the career reading, but in simple terms, you can finally feel like, okay, this is what it is that I want to do. This is what it is that I've been trying to say, or this is how I want to actually show up in the world. Let's just say that. And then we're talking about Mercury. You're going to be discussing the ways in which you can have more pleasure in your life. This can lead you guys into having more conversation about, yes, your childhood or your children, wanting to have a safer environment for your children, how you want to get closer to your children, your relationship to your own parents, either if you have children yourself or wanting to parent yourself. In general, it's this immersive pulling energy saying to you, I deserve more, I want more pleasure, I want more, dare I say, peace in that way. I deserve more. This has been a theme for you for a while, and May is just expanding that relationship to deserving, that relationship to the simple things. Then we have Jupiter sextiling Chiron, Jupiter squaring the North, and the North sextiling Chiron, all on the 18th. It's a lot of things happening in one day. What I love about this energy in specific, Capricorn, is because I see that Chiron wants to help you and heal you with the help of lucky Jupiter. So you could find yourselves having a lucky break if you submitted for something, if you put yourself out when it comes to love, whatever it could be. There's some kind of lucky break when it comes to healing your relationship with your wounds tied to the fourth house. So getting the home that you didn't think you were going to be able to get, getting approval that you didn't think you were going to be able to get, or again, the way in which your self-love can create a big, expansive return for you. The way in which getting rid of a belief system that you've held on to since childhood can bring in a very beautiful and lucky break, which I like when it comes to this energy. But obviously, it's something that can have a challenging aspect to it. So you can be told something good, but then aware of the fact that in order to make it happen, there may be more groundwork that you need to put in. Then we have on the 20th, we've got the sun entering Gemini. And then from there, we have Saturn going into Aries on the 24th. But I'm going to focus on the sun going into Gemini. Capricorn, Jupiter is leaving Gemini next month. Okay, Jupiter is going into Cancer, your relationship sector. While Jupiter is still in Gemini, all of this Gemini activation at the end of this month really wants you to go through whatever projects you've been focused on with a fine-tooth comb, right? You've had to do this since Jupiter entered Gemini last year, and you've seen good returns when you've actually focused on the nitty-gritty details, when you've didn't take any shortcuts, let's just say that, where the year prior you got a lot of lucky breaks when Jupiter was in your fifth house. With Jupiter in your sixth house, it rewards you when you put in the work, when you focus on the little things, okay? So I would say do everything you can to be more meticulous in your approach. Do not skimp away from the fine print, especially when it comes to contracts. And most importantly, when it comes to your relationship with your own body, when it comes to yourself, how are you taking care of yourself, being kinder to yourself, really refining and looking at the little details when it comes to who it is that you are, paying attention to the little things that make you you, Capricorn. From there, we see Saturn finally entering into Aries, which is the drum roll that's happening all month. And that ends with Mercury entering Gemini and the new moon going into Gemini. So when we see Saturn going into Aries, that's what it is that I've been talking about. Obviously, this burst happens quite quickly, mainly because Pluto is in Aquarius. And where Pluto is in Aquarius, which it is now retrograde in Aquarius, we are now going back on the things that are related to our relationship with our self-wealth, our self-worth, and the things that we have been doing toward that since about a year or two ago, right? So this can bring up something that you started about 2 years ago, a plan that you put out 2 years ago, and now you're having to go back to the past, see all of the steps that you have taken up until this point, and how many of the steps that you have taken probably were related to a lack of self-worth, whether it was relationships, friendships, contracts, whatever it can be. You're having to look back and see all of the decisions that were, let's say, misaligned because of the ways in which you didn't see yourself. And this Pluto retrograde is asking you to go back, bleed in more self-love, self-worth, self-wealth, and do things in a way that is better. Do things in a way that is stronger because of your self-confidence and your self-perception is stronger. So yeah, it has you going back. But going back doesn't have to mean a bad thing. It doesn't have to mean a negative thing. For some of you, it can be more simple in terms of revisiting old relationships. And for others of you, it's much bigger than that. It's having to revisit bigger mistakes that you made when you weren't aware of who it is that you are, Capricorn. And so when we see Saturn going into Aries, this is you having to put in the groundwork tied to this. The second house and the fourth house are very close friends and lovers in that way. The second house representing Taurus, the fourth house representing Cancer. These two together create a beautiful home together. I've told you guys this before. Cancer and Taurus love to be home together. They love to build wealth together. They love to have comfort together. So you're balancing these two energies. Pluto is saying, how are you going to revisit your Taurian house, your finances, your wealth house? And Aries going into Saturn is saying, how are you going to put in the groundwork when it comes to the things internally that shaped the things that you did around your self-worth, self-wealth energy? And now it's time to pioneer. Now it's time to put in the work. Now it's time to step on maybe unstable ground in order to, let's say, create your own narrative in that way. The ground might be shaky, but you're the one with stable footing. And what are you going to do with that? It's a lot of internal stuff, Capricorn. And I can't say it's an easy energy, but for the most part, things are on your side as you do this. May is a lighter energy. You're feeling very good, but you're addressing difficult things from a lighter place, from a brighter place inside. And that is the beauty of what Aries is giving you. Aries is saying, feel the fear, do it anyway. See the insecurity, pioneer through it. See the obstacle, and don't be afraid to headbutt it. And headbutt it without all the excess, headbutt it without all the emotions, if you get what I mean, because you've been working on the way in which you've been seeing yourself on an internal level. So this is very good, Capricorn. There's a lot of healing and there's a lot of growth in the month of May, but it comes along with you having to revisit the past and maybe see yourself and decisions that you've made, maybe not in the best light, but deciding to take a different approach this time around. Okay, so that's what I have for you, and we are going to get into the reading now. Okay, Capricorn, so here we are with your personal reading for the remainder of May. And the biggest thing we have going on here is there is a conversation around your relationship with other people, Capricorn. You're very focused on the way in which you connect with and associate with people around you. And this is what's happening on an internal level, because remember, this is your personal. So inside of you is a desire to connect, a desire to understand what relationships work versus what relationships don't work. Who can you work with versus who you cannot work with. We also see this here happening with the Knight of Wands, with competition, malice, and other women. So again, it's like this dance between who can I connect with, who's working well, what dynamics serve me, and who am I competing with? Who do I have to protect myself from? Who do I have to become aggressive toward? Who do I have to fight? Kind of thing. And this seems to be what it is that's going on internally throughout the rest of the month of May, which at this point is no real surprise, because obviously we see that great full moon happening in Scorpio. And the full moon going on in Scorpio puts you in a position where you are focused on your social dynamics, ending cycles tied to your social paradigm, especially tied to things that you were going through during Scorpio season of last year. And so it's that dance of, I will not do this again. I will not go through that again. I will not connect with this person in this way again. I think the most important thing here is, it's about the navigation, right? Because Scorpio being in your 11th house, it's social navigation, emotional navigation, things that you've learned since then while Cancer was in Mars, how to be better in terms of your communication, how to deal with people and situations from a place that is more compassionate, a place that is more pioneering through a nurturing energy, less of an aggressive or strong approach and more of a receptive approach, right? More of a workability. And that's what I love about this Three of Pentacles, because you're like, your energy, is looking like, where can I work with people? Where can I make things happen? I have to say that there is malice around you, right? So it becomes this conversation of you're dealing with both. You're dealing with on the external, because what's going on your internal is the juxtaposition between frankly, dare I say, your own malice, your own competitiveness, your own insecurities, your own discomforts, and then also your own desire to have the exact opposite, connecting, working, unions, connections, and relationships. And there are things about what you're doing this month that dance between the two. So in your practical matters, who you work with is a big conversation, whether it's to achieve a goal, achieve a project, or who you're working with at work. And then what's going on in your love life seems to be affected by a social paradigm. Who is the other woman? Who is the other man? Who is on your team? who is against you, right? Now, in your shadow, we see the Three of Cups, the Three of Calabash, and this is accompanied by the Ten of Cowrie in reverse. So again, it goes back to this energy of the thing that you fear is relationships that are, dare I say, not only unproductive, but also can be filled with, drama, relationships that do not serve you, things that are not working relationships, situations that are just a waste of time. And yeah, it feels this isn't the Five of Wands, it isn't the Five of Swords, so it doesn't give me the kind of energy of fear of major conflict or real difficult energies or difficult peoples. But again, it could just be the simple, it feels like the connections that just do not serve. It can again be more of this dramatic kind of a feeling, and how you just really do not want to be a part of that. You do not want to be a part of non-productive or non-serious outcomes in terms of the way your social paradigm is playing out. And yeah, this has been an ongoing theme since October, November of last year. And you just are saying to yourself that you no longer want to put up with or connect with things that do not serve. And yeah, that's what it is that you're afraid of, along with the Ten of Cowrie in reverse, which goes to this thing of like, where is your happy home? Something that's going to threaten your foundation, threaten your security, threaten your current ideas about working relationships, people that serve in your life, where things are beneficial in your life. And not wanting that ground to be shaken. Let's just say that. In your healing points, or excuse me, in your advice, we have spirals of manifestation, and this goes along with in the world, not of the world. So where we see these two, it's a matter of you needing to understand that things are moving forward. You are productive. Your connections can be productive. Working relationships are in let's say, I don't know why I want to say unison. And then you are in the world, not of the world. And in the world, not of the world is what I like to call my Capricorn card, because it's the true SeaGoat energy. It's the exalted SeaGoat. It's the person that understands how to be of both land and sea. You have your practical matters figured out, but you're also living life on your own terms and doing things your own way. Let's just say that. And so this is how these two things, let's say, dance together. So your advice is understanding that things are in movement and that you do not have to overly attach yourself to situations and or people that do not serve. And remember, this is what's going on in your subconscious. So in your subconscious, you have to understand that things are in motion. What you desire or require is already in motion. And you yourself need to understand that you are sitting at this intersectional reality of being both a part of, let's say, a certain series of social paradigms and not being them. You don't have to compromise yourself or sacrifice yourself in any which way, shape, or form. And that's actually where you will thrive, where you will flourish, versus breaking yourself up too much or trying too hard to prove something. Or again, these are two very opposing energies, almost like someone being split into two. It's not necessary, or it is not necessary. When we look at the healing points here, it's all about understanding how to, let's say, let go of feeling very wound up. 13 and 12. We start on Earth. You've been moving so fast for so long that you're not realizing how wound up you've become. Gently unwind now to drop into a deeper, slower healing rhythm, and you will restore your body, mind, and soul. Things which seem too difficult right now shall soon seem very manageable and even pleasurable to accomplish. And next to that, we have more Earth. So this is all about you needing to get on the ground floor, Capricorn. You will be able to sense the best timing and approach to take, to create space for healing and resolution. Connect to your body and ground yourself in the here and now with bodily friendly practices. You will find your way intuitively and instinctively, even through confusing circumstances, where one moment you are sure the answer is no, And the next moment you are sure the answer is yes. Give up trying to figure out the answer right now and remain open with positive but relaxed expectation that clarity shall emerge spontaneously according to divine timing. Both are about grounding yourself, Capricorn. Even reading that, I calmed down a lot more. I was a bit wound up when I started this. And it's like you need to calm down, Capricorn. You need to go on the ground. What I like here is we aren't looking at majors, okay? So there are no major arcanas here. This is kind of a very simple thing. Simple stuff that's going on inside of you. This split into two. What works, who works, and who doesn't work. Where do I have to compete versus where I don't have to compete? I don't want anything that ruptures my ground. I don't want anything that makes me feel unstable. I don't want anything that interrupts or interferes with what it is that I've been trying to accomplish for myself. But again, what it is that you desire is emotion, and you're accepted fully as yourself. You can exist as yourself. You are being overworked here, and you're doing it to yourself. You're overthinking. You're overstressing. You're trying so hard to figure out what it is. Dare I say, a lot of you are trying to read people's minds, even trying to understand what is happening or what people are feeling or what is, you're trying too hard to understand too many things at once. Gently unwind, right? Relax into a healing rhythm. You just ground yourself. Ground yourself. The overarching energy for the healing points is Solve Polluti. And that's an air energy. So when you ground yourself, it brings about clarity. Tune into your heart, and you will be able to find your way through any negative or toxic situation. Engage in self-healing and space clearing. Commit to regular practices that help connect you to your inner light. Your light shall not be overcome by any darkness or negativity. Take time to clean your heart and mind of negativity by focusing on the divine beings that bring joy to your heart. It is appropriate for you to desire your own personal and sacred space and access it daily. It's the toxicity that you're experiencing within is showing up on the outside. The split that you're having within yourself is showing up on the external. And you need to relax. You need to calm down, Capricorn. You need to be at ease with yourself. In the world, not of the world, is about a split energy, but one who is comfortable in that split. It's like, let go. You need to ground so that you can find the clarity to navigate whatever toxicity you feel like you're dealing with on the outside. At the bottom of the tarot deck, we've got the Six of Swords. So the overarching energy for what's going on is healing. But we have the Six of Swords. So, the Six of Swords is great healing, but it's also the kind of healing that says there might have been a war here. There might have been a battle. There are things that you cannot fix, change, heal. There are just things you can't do anything about. And because you can't do anything about them, dwelling on them is not going to help you. You're not perfect right now. Things are not perfect right now. Your social situations as well. You just need to relax. Capricorn, whatever is playing out is kind of, dare I say, unnecessary in a way. It feels unnecessary. At the bottom of the shadow deck, we've got the Seven of Cups in reverse, the Seven of Calabash in reverse. So again, what are your options? Feeling limited. At the advice, we have conscious connections. So it goes back into the same space of spirals of manifestation are in movement. You are fully accepted as who it is that you are, Capricorn. It's like you have to get out of your head. You have to get out of this this perception that it's like you have to get out of this perception that you yourself has to be hypervigilant in order to navigate situations. There is no hypervigilance here. That's not necessary in this dynamic. And at the bottom of the clarity deck, we had boundaries. So there's a dance going on between what you are healing from, right? Trying to navigate through, whatever sparring matches might have played out in terms of your social life, the way you're balancing your social paradigm, what works, what doesn't, who works and who doesn't, and the boundaries that you are setting in this process. This is what it is that you're going through this for the remainder of May, and this is what's going to help you progress forward. What helps you progress forward is understanding how to focus on conscious connections that actually serve you as you naturally are, and to allow yourself to calm down. As you calm down and you balance your energies, you find much more progression in what it is that you're looking to accomplish and achieve. Hold on, Capricorn, I see a spider. Okay, Capricorn. So yeah, and that's what we see going on here. It's a lot of what's going on inside of you on a personal level is a really big focus on the way you are socially navigating. And you need to relax through this. Focus on the connections that serve you. Focus on lightening your energies or lightening your perspective of things. And it's like setting boundaries and who am I saying no to, and as I'm trying to heal through this, what is it you need to be thinking, feeling, doing, being? Thinking, feeling. There goes 3 of Cups. Doing. Be. Ooh, wow. Okay. And at the bottom of that, we saw the 6 of Wands and the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. I like this energy, Capricorn. This is nice because in a way I felt like this reading was kind of, it felt very simple. It is your personal reading. It is what's going on an internal level, but you're internally focused outward. It's like you're really focused on people. You're focused on your connections with other people. Yeah, how you're navigating and dealing with people. But we see these 3 of Pentacles, 3 of Cups show up again. Okay, so you need to be thinking 3 of Pentacles. So what's going on is obviously in your, which connections work, what doesn't work, and things like that, and focusing on pouring into your connections, the connections that serve you, the things that are working for you. And obviously in your shadow, we see the fear of things kind of navigating in a way that is not so serving, let's say that. But in your mind, you need to be focused on this 3 of Pentacles. What is working? Only align with what works, especially when it comes to people, when it comes to social paradigms. So like I said initially, for some of you, you are the competitive one. You are the one that is this Knight of Wands energy, ready for wars that do not exist. So it's important for you yourself to focus on union, focus on connection, focus on what works, not focused on what doesn't work. Your mind needs to be, as I always say, one of the greatest ways to connect with people is to focus on your similarities more than your differences. And you guys need to be focused on your similarities more than your differences. Working relationships, working situations, not focused on where you have to compete or where you have to fight or where there's some kind of fall point or your fears are unfounded, because here we have the fact that you need to feel the same thing that you fear. So not only does your mind need to be focused on the practicality of what works, your emotions need to be focused on wanting to connect with people. Really wanting to connect with people. That is what you need to do. So in your head, the way that the mind and let's say the body that feels works for you for the remainder of May is saying, I am desiring unions and bonds that are effective. And I need to actually show up for that. I need to actually be ready and prepared for connection. Because the more I am ready and prepared for connection, the more connection is going to be ready and prepared for me. The more I can pour into these people in these situations that are trying to pour themselves back into me, and the more you can actually progress and move forward. Because a lot of this is it's unfounded dramas that are sitting inside of you. You're the one trying too hard to figure out what to do and thinking and feeling, and it's like you need to unwind. There's tension that exists inside of you because there's also a lack of self-acceptance of being both parts of who it is that you are. Fully accept the self, and again, remove anything that is anxious in terms of connection, unity. What is it that you need to be doing is the Six of Cups. So lightening your energy. Lighten your energy, Capricorn. Take a better approach. I wouldn't say, for some of you, this could be not being afraid of your past. Again, pulling out the past in a way that isn't so dark or isn't so heavy. Be willing to heal your relationship to people maybe of your past, or if it's not people of your past in specific, the way you're relating to people now needs to change, and it's been affected by your past. So lighten your energy right now, especially because a lot of you went through a serious who is staying in your life versus who is going in your life, boundaries, cutting off, things like that since 2022. And so for some of you Capricorns, you could be in having to address things like isolation, having to step out of isolation, having to step into a more warm kind of energy because of things that have played out previously. And now it's actually look at this differently. Did this relationship have to wound you like that? Do these people have to not be around you? Can you heal these connections? It's like Capricorn, it's you who needs to focus on working relationships and not so much this heaviness. Because who it is that you need to be beautifully, you saw me smile as, well, you didn't see me smile, but I smiled as big as can be because you have the Empress here. Who you need to be is the Mother Empress. This includes my masculines. The Empress is someone who knows their worth, knows their value, knows their wealth. The Empress can connect with and get along with almost anyone, even her enemies. And a part of the reason why, maybe some of you guys didn't want me to say, even her enemies. And a part of the reason why is because she is Venus. She is Venusian. The Empress, because most of our issues with other people is because we were not showing up properly in the connection. It's because we didn't have a strong sense of value and or worth. And so some of the worst people we ever meet in our lives are people that we vibrationally connected to because of where we were with ourselves, because we were not in a proper place with ourselves. Versus when you align with the Empress energy, when you're coming from this abundant, confident, she's the only major arcana on the deck right now. All of this stuff is minor. All of this stuff is just as is. But when the Empress steps into the room, that lets you know that when you know you are on the throne, when you know who it is that you are, you don't have to isolate. You don't have to be so on guard. You do not have to be so worried, because you're not aligning yourself with people who you have to be on guard with people who are going to feel that tension with you. Right? It's you become the Empress is focused on this energy because she knows that no one can take anything from her. She knows that everything that she has is her own. Diamonds move when the Empress moves. And so it becomes this perspective of if abundance, and it's not just financial abundance, okay? When abundance is you, this includes self-love abundance, it includes self-acceptance, it includes, again, self-worth, self-wealth. When you know that no one can shake and or break you, it changes you. Especially for a lot of you, like we see the Six of Cups here, right? Like your relationship to the past for many of you. A lot of these social hiccups are derived from past situations when you weren't the Empress, when you didn't know you were the Empress, when you didn't feel like the Empress. But now you need to know you are the Empress. You need to feel like you're the Empress. You need to be the Empress. Also, the Empress is one of unconditional love. The Empress is one who is naturally abundant. The Empress is nurturing. The Empress is loving. But most importantly, the Empress loves herself first, and that's why she has a lot to give. If you look at this card here, this woman, she is not needing of anyone. She's not insecure. So she is not in movement. She is not yearning. She is very comfortable in her own energy. She's very comfortable in her own skin. This is a woman that seems very content with herself. And that contentment, again, it also applies to my masculines, that self-love, self-abundance, contentment. You can give natural, let's say, social cohesion comes naturally when you yourself are deeply abundant. Because you're not losing anything. No one can take anything. No one feels like you're missing anything, and you also don't need anyone else's validation. So we like to say that because, you know, when we are resisting people in a state of competition, it's, oh, I don't need your validation. I don't need you. But if you really didn't, then you wouldn't feel that tension at all. That tension wouldn't exist. That's where it is that you need to be. And for whatever reason, we saw at the bottom of this deck, we see the Wheel of Fortune, and that came with the Six of Wands. So we see, you know, this ability to win, this ability to thrive, this ability to evolve. There's some kind of change here, so it's a thriving change. It's a winning change. Victory is on the other side here, but it happens through you healing your social paradigm for the remainder of this month. I'm sorry, but that's kind of... this is your introspective reading, but I can't help what I feel. Your introspective reading is about other people. It is about the way you relate to and connect with other people. So it kind of leads me to believe you're not in a very emotionally deep place for the remainder of this month. It's your things are... The water is a little bit more shallow for you for the remainder of this month. I just wanted to get a little something from Kuan Yin. You have won a victory, a beloved victory over the past, and the Amaryllis lute is sounding through every cell of your being. heralding your rising vibration as you leave fear behind you once again. Wow, Capricorn. In fact, the lute says you are growing fast and spiritually. You are outgrowing your old life. Your old life with the six of... You are outgrowing your old life. This is natural. It is safe and loving for you to realize, or release that which no longer feels right for you. No matter how much it was important in your old life, it might not have the same place in your new life. And again, a lot of this has to do with this dance between the snake and who you're connecting to. Three of Pentacles versus the Knight of Wands. Your own relationship with your own internal wounds and battles, and how they have affected the way in which you associate and relate to the outside world. That is what's ending. That is what's changing. Needing to let go from the overthinking, being wound up. Focus on what works. Focus on your similarities. Focus on connecting. Desire connection. Heal your relationship to the past and understand that you are this Empress energy, and it changes everything when you know that. Everything changes when you know your worth. Everything. It's not just in a competitive way, which is, oh, I'm very clear on myself, and no one can wound me the way that they used to. No one can speak to me the way that they used to. It's not about that. That's the first tier. But when one is truly in alignment with themselves, you're not even thinking that. There is no need for applause nor strife, approval nor validation. And then we've got direction here. Okay, so do not deviate from your path. Plan where it is that you want to be, because you are outgrowing the past. Be very selective and very straightforward and very, let's say, steadfast in how you are creating your new social paradigm, because it serves you. We see at the bottom of that deck, like we said, the Wheel of Fortune, some kind of victory. So for you guys, this journey that you're taking with your internal self, which is allowing yourself to relax more, get more connected to people, feel more in tune with your worth and your value. Again, a lot of you, this can be you just simply rescuing yourself from past ideas about when you thought you, let's say, didn't get along with people or had some kind of issues with other people or whatever that may be, and you're healing that. You're realizing how to, again, heal your social paradigm and have a different experience. At the end of the day, you are now in a space where you're cleaning up that old perspective and creating a new result. So this can be you healing relationships that are already there, or again, now just changing through a sense of relaxation and balance. That Wheel of Fortune brings about the change, and the new victory is a new healed social rhetoric, a new healed social paradigm. And that's going to help you, change the state of your current reality and see through victories on the other side. So that's what I have for you, Capricorn. I love you so very much. Ciao.